That's all that matters.
Just believe and receive, you know? That's what you got to do.
Oh
Talking heresy behind the scenes here, you know?
Oh, name it and claim it. Man, jeez. Welcome to Reformed Jellicle, where the Reformed and Evangelicals meet, and the Charismatics, apparently.
That's right. Behind the scenes only, though. Only when we're not supposed to be live.
Yeah, that's exclusive content that you can pay for. Send in your check of faith.
That's right. Sow your seed, and it'll be fine. It's a little creepy. Sow your seed. I don't know. I just don't like the way that sounds.
I don't either. Let's not say that ever again. Oh, my name is Matt Williams. I'm co-hosted by the great AD Robles. AD, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Doing fantastic. January 2021 was great, and February is going to be even greater.
Okay, have you been drinking?
No. Honestly, I was talking to my brother this morning, and no, I haven't been drinking.
Oh,
except water, ice water. But anyway, I was talking to my brother, and listen, a lot of crazy stuff's happening, but there's a lot of reason for encouragement. There's a lot of reason for positivity, I think. This guy Andrew Torba's got me all jacked up right now, man.
Just because he retweeted you. You just wanted to bring that up to rub it in, didn't you?
He's retweeted me like 3 or 4 times.
No, he hasn't.
And let me give you another one because I'm verified, which I didn't ask for, but I was verified even before I bought the pro account.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, he verified me on his own, I think.
That's crazy.
That's right. I didn't ask for it, but I'm just saying. Sorry about that, Matt.
You know what? You know why that's crazy to me? Because I paid for it and I'm still not verified. What is this?
Did you ask for it?
Yes.
Contact
honestly, I asked for it like a couple days ago.
Yeah. I emailed them the support because I had an issue with I don't know what I had an issue with, but they got back to me quick.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I would love, because I've seen him retweet you. I've seen it, what do we call it? Regabbing? I don't know what it's called. Regab.
We're just regabbing it.
You're regabbing it. I saw he did it with Foster.
Yeah,
with Michael Foster.
He likes Foster. He likes Foster.
Dude,
he did the same thing. He verified Foster too.
Did he really?
Foster. Yeah.
That is awesome. I would love for him to be part of the crew. Wouldn't that be great if this became like the new social media platform and just, we were best friends with the CEO and Big Eva couldn't even get verified. Wouldn't that be great?
I think there's a very strong chance of something like that happening because there's not that many people that read like David Chilton. And you know what I mean, and all that, and I think it's only a matter of time. He'll probably be on Cross Politic. It looks like he is.
Yeah.
And when he talks to those guys, they're just going to hit it off clearly. And I think it's a very high likelihood of something like that happening.
Yeah. So what is the likelihood? Do you think he's reformed?
So I've heard that he wasn't, but is trending that way, sort of like you.
No, like me. We'll get along great. We can share our journeys together.
I don't want to gossip about him because I don't really know too much about him, but I think the chances that he will become reformed, if he's not, are very high.
Maybe he's a health and wealth guy. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't say that about anyone. I'm just kidding.
How dare you? How dare you?
I? Yes. Another good news, though, or not good news, but what's everyone's been messaging me about is Donald Trump apparently posted on Gab too today.
My brother sent me that. Yeah.
Everyone sent me exciting. That. I was like, do we know it's him though?
The Don himself.
I know. That'd be pretty interesting. We already got questions. If you guys want to join live, you can join us 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays. We see Dario. Did Cross Politic call you about stonks? Yes, they did. And it's actually a quite funny story because I'm at such a friendship level with them. I don't get the guest treatment whatsoever.
No.
I got a call and said, hey, get ready to talk about stonks in 3 minutes. We'll call you back. That was my lead prep time for the Cross Politic.
I mean, that's more than I expected.
I know. I always have to do a check. Am I live right now when they call me? I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. Andrew's probably, or is his name Andrew? What is his name? What's
Andrew.
the Gab guy?
Oh, yeah. Andrew Torba.
Andrew. Is he probably Presbyterian? Maybe.
Maybe. If he's not, he should be.
Yeah. What's the subject for today? No one knows. No one knows what the subject is today.
We don't even know.
We don't even know. Yeah, seriously. How our show prep is, I send a bunch of articles that I think are fascinating and worth talking about, and we get to probably a third of them.
That's right.
Usually.
That's right.
I'm not listening to business advice from Matt anymore. He drinks Miller. Yes. It's a beer.
I do too, so you might not want to listen to me. You might not want to listen to me. I like it. It's low carb naturally. They didn't do anything special, and it's cheap.
Yeah, yep. You can't hate on it. But I haven't seen you drinking any of those what were those? Lemonade
White
thingies?
Claws.
White Claws, yes.
The last time I had a White Claw was I took a picture of it was right after the Capitol incident. And I said that there was wreckage on my desk, and it was a couple of cans of empty White Claw. The wreckage of an insurrection in my office.
I don't know if this got around to other places in the country, but in California, there was this meme that was going around where it was like a plastic chair was knocked over, and it was like, we will rebuild after it rained, because that was like our extreme weather. It was so great. That's what that reminded me of.
It's so similar. I mean, that's an insurrection also. Not only was it a storm to end all storms, there's also an insurrection at the same time.
Yeah.
The plastic chair was knocked over. We will recover.
We will do it.
People live in a fantasy world, man. I wonder sometimes if they really do live in a fantasy world, or if they just know they're lying, or if they really do think like it's epic moment in time. We were almost destroyed. Yeah, they might really think that. They could be really twisted.
No, they are really twisted. There's no doubt about that. But what kind of twist is it is the question, right?
Right.
No, I honestly think they know it, but they justify it.
Yeah.
By, hey, it's for a greater purpose. It's for a greater good.
Yeah.
Like Joe Biden, he quoted an existentialist, the father of existentialism, in the prayer breakfast, which was ironic. But that's the whole philosophy, right? There's no universal truth, free will, no accountability. So I think that's kind of where their mind's at, personally.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
So speaking of this Capitol investigation and riot, insurrection, I don't know what you want to call it, plastic chair knockover, and that's pretty much what it was at the Capitol too, let's be honest. CNN is saying that investigators are struggling to build a federal murder case regarding fallen U.S. Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, vexed by a lack of evidence that could prove someone caused his death as he defended the Capitol during last month's insurrection. And there's two things that I've heard about that. Is one, they don't have any video of it, which you would think every single inch of that place is covered in video, right?
Oh, you mean sort of like they didn't have any video of that Vegas shooter in the place where there's more cameras per capita than anywhere else on the planet? Similar to that one. Okay, gotcha. Or Epstein, or any major event, they just don't have videos of them anymore. Yeah,
that's
right.
Such a good point.
Got it.
They never found that guy either, did they?
Didn't he kill himself or something? I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't really know, because the story is out of my mind, because, the way the news cycle works, they just get it out of your mind quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. No, did he kill him? I don't know. I wonder. Like, that case never got, I thought there was a lot of unanswered questions. Like, maybe it was like why he did the motive and things like that.
The motive wasn't there. And like, then how he got the arsenal into his room wasn't there.
That's right.
Which, everyone's seen Ocean's 11. There's cameras everywhere there. You would have at least one. They didn't have any.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane. And like, so equally as surveyed is the Capitol building, I would say. I mean, they're probably pretty close to on par with each other.
Right.
And they can't find any video of somebody hitting the guy. And also, they couldn't find any medical evidence in the autopsy of him being like killed by a concussion wound. What is going on, man? It's crazy. And then you think about it, though, it's not just that they're blaming his murder on us or on whoever they want to blame it on at the time, the QAnon people, Trump himself.
Christian nationalists, Christians, Trump himself, conservatives, Republicans, whatever it is.
Domestic terrorists.
That blonde lady, Margie or whatever. Right.
Oh, she got stripped from her committee meetings, too, today. So gotta love it. Just on a side note completely, I would love to run as a politician as a clown and still probably be the least clownish person in Washington, D.C. and just make a mockery of it. Just show up to your Capitol in a clown suit. Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great. But the thing that's so frustrating about this is, so they're talking about how this was mass insurrection. I only know of this guy dying, and then the girl that the Secret Service got killed. I heard there was like rumors of other people getting killed, but I've never heard anyone else or any other investigations coming about anyone else dying. So apparently it was just these two.
Right.
Have you heard of any more?
No, no, and even if I did, at this point, the whole story is so bogus that I would just instantly disbelieve it.
Yeah,
Like you have to prove it to me, and one of the ways you could prove it to me is have a video that would be scrutinized by many witnesses, but you don't even have a video that isn't scrutinized at all. Like you have nothing. So there's nothing. You're never going to get me to believe that stuff at this point because their whole narrative is just a fantasy. So like again, I always say this on the show. I always say it on my own show. When somebody lies to you a lot and they come to you with an outrageous story, like there was an almost insurrection, there's no, only a stupid person believes them without evidence.
Yeah, definitely. And even if they do have some evidence, you want to question that a lot because who knows which way they're twisting that thing.
So here's Austin over here. Great comment. By the way, he said that since I'm Presbyterian, I was probably drunk. good one. But he says we can't get any of this stuff on video, but we're starting to get real UFOs on video.
Right. Yeah.
Sure we are.
Oh my gosh, I know. And
yes,
and that's just the Capitol cameras. How many people were filming? Like I think someone in here was saying about the witch doctor or whatever guy.
Yeah, the shaman.
The shaman. Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, it's so
everywhere.
True. There's cameras everywhere in the Capitol. Everyone carries a camera on them at all times. A lot of people are live streaming it, and they can't. And I don't know. I mean, it would stand to reason that at least some of the cops would have cameras on them as well. Like. But nothing. There's nothing.
Nothing. So we're
having a hard time putting together the case when there was literally thousands of witnesses.
Right. And so thousands of witnesses. 2 people have died. 2. One shot. We have the video of that crawling through a window next to Capitol Police that had their guns not drawn. They were down in a non-defensive position and shot by a Secret Service guy from the other side. And then we have this Capitol Hill police officer. There's no evidence how he died. They don't know how he died. They can't have any. There's no pictures of it whatsoever. And think of where we're at. We have impeached the president again. We have the militarized Capitol now with permanent fencing. And now we're going to go on this vigilante against us domestic terrorists, violent extremists, and the radical QAnon people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think I've figured it out, though.
Okay.
You ready for this?
I am ready.
Okay. The shaman guy cast a spell of forgetfulness on everybody and invisibility. And so what he did was he cast the spell of invisibility, which led to the person who actually did kill that guy. He was invisible at the time. That's why I didn't see it. It's a real shaman.
That's absolutely insane.
That's what really happened.
But that's as likely as the stories they're trying to spin us to.
Oh yeah, the story about the wreckage in the Capitol.
Yes. Or AOC being in the. Oh my gosh.
But don't worry, Russell Moore was trembling with rage as he saw the images on his screen. He literally couldn't even.
Oh man, I have not heard from that guy in a long time, and I'm really thankful for it.
Me too.
Since your show on his effeminate picture, I have not heard from him. It's been wonderful.
Ooh. Yeah, me too. I gotta say, I didn't think that social media like really had that much of an impact on me because, like, you know, I know a lot of it is lies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, I feel more cheerful not reading, you know, the tweets of effeminate pastors all day long.
Yeah,
I feel much more cheerful. There's a few trolls on Gab, but I don't mind trolls. But my blood pressure I think is down. I've been monitoring my heart rate just for fun, and like it's got my resting heart rate's gone down like 10 points. This is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I'm really jealous, and I think I'm going to be doing that too. We'll talk about that in a second. But I just had to share this meme. This is the best thing on Twitter today. This is the head of the old granny with her sippy cup and her American flag that was in the Capitol in these riots, where they say 5 or 6 people died, but we only know of 2. And then AOC cowering in her desk. It was absolutely, it wins the day for the memes.
Poor Alexandria. I'm sure she was fearful for her life.
Yeah. Man, what was it? She was What was it? Did you hear about the hashtag she had? Because you're not on Twitter anymore.
No.
Oh, there was a hashtag. Alexander Ocasio-Smollett. That was trending today on Twitter from Jesse Smollett, the one who hired the people to attack him, the soap opera guy.
Oh, yeah,
or the actor.
Yeah, of course. How could I forget?
So Alexander Ocasio-Smollett was trending on Twitter today because she faked the whole thing. For those of you who don't know, she was in her office during the rioting or whatever. I hate calling it rioting. The protest. It's during the protest. And she was in her office, which was like a mile away from the Capitol. They were given the all clear an hour before all the chaos happened. And she's going off with the sob story about how she was traumatized and she had her life threatened and all this stuff. And so I just thought that meme was fantastic.
This is the lady isn't she the representative from the Bronx?
Mm-hmm. The bartender. The
right.
socialist.
So she was terrified, and supposedly she lives in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The boogie down Bronx.
But I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
But a few shamans, they scared the life out of her, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently, the only interaction she had is with a Capitol police officer knocked on her door and asked if she was okay. That was the extent.
That was pretty scary.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh.
I mean, she is Puerto Rican, so I don't know. A police officer comes up to you. I mean, I've heard that police officers beat Puerto Ricans like hotcakes, so maybe she just thought it was her turn. She was going to get destroyed.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
that goes back to
blacks and Latinos are living in fear.
Yeah, that's right. That goes back to it. Like, does she believe her own lies? Who knows?
Who knows? She probably does.
Yeah. So I read this on the news today. Twitter announces expansion of strategic partnership with Google to learn more from data, move faster, is the quote. Learn more from data, move faster.
Huh.
And I have to say, I really do want to get off Twitter and Facebook now.
That sounds kind of creepy.
Super creepy. What are you going to learn about?
That sounds like they're going to start to do like you know how they did in what's it called, the Future Crime in that movie,
Minority
Report, right?
Yeah,
so they're going to start to do future ban. So it's like, all right, I see this guy's trajectory. He's probably going to start saying some QAnon stuff soon. So we gotta preemptively ban him. Future wrong think. Oh, I see what you ordered on Amazon.com. Like that's the line to white supremacy. Future ban.
Yeah. That's the stuff that's gonna happen, and that's so creepy. If you remember,
you ordered Rushdoony, future ban.
Future ban. Used to have the Q on your keyboard. Cut off. Future ban.
You better type another letter quickly after that Q, because if you don't, future ban.
Oh gosh. But it's so trippy because Google has so much information about us.
Yeah.
I remember reading a story, I think maybe it was even 5 years ago. It was a while back that they announced they're going to stop reading our emails because they know enough about us. Did you hear about that ever?
Wait. Say it again.
So a Gmail is free because they use it to read everything and then to learn about you.
Right. Yeah.
So it was no longer than 5 years ago. Maybe it was sooner than that. But they made an announcement that they're no longer going to read our emails because they've already learned everything they need to about us. And now they're going to partner up with Twitter for that.
So number one, they didn't. They're still reading your emails. Number two, that's creepy.
Super creepy.
I mean,
super creepy. And now we have these oligarch tech companies combining forces to do whatever they will.
And shame on us because I have to take responsibility for this because I kind of knew some of this stuff, and I still used Google. You know what I mean? And it must be just like a normalcy bias thing where it's like, all right, sure, they're reading my emails, but what are they going to end up? What are they going to do? Are they going to start banning me from my bank account? Little did I know in 2021 that could be a very real possibility.
What am I not going to be able to make a living anymore?
Right? Am I going to be able to process payments? I mean, come on, I can't buy or sell. What is this? Left Behind series or what? You know what I mean? but it's so shame on us because we really should have seen the writing on the wall much sooner. I worry so much about the people that don't see the writing on the wall now, because now if you don't see the writing on the wall, you're just never going to. You're going to have to learn the hard way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at this point, it's just so that's such a good point, Matt, because why didn't we all just be like, okay, so Google's an evil company. Like at that moment,
Yeah.
a lot of people did, to their credit, but I was still
Yeah.
using Google.
Yeah, I know. And like a year ago or 2 years ago, even Donald Trump mentioned this. One of their first bullet points of their mission statement was "Do no evil," and they removed it from a year or two ago. Is that not a big enough sign for us?
Seriously.
Maybe we shouldn't trust this
Like
company
they took a
anymore.
moment and they thought about it. Like, yeah, we should probably remove that.
Yeah, that's a waste of space. It's a waste. But the thing about the Twitter announcement that they're going to be using Google is they are going to come for our businesses because for they can kick us off Twitter. That's not a really big deal. But Jack Dorsey has a much bigger company than Twitter, Square, which is the merchant services of a lot of small businesses. And if you think that his philosophy on Twitter of banning us radicals and domestic terrorists isn't going to flood over to Square, you got another thing coming for you.
Oh yeah, sure. He'll probably really regret the precedent he's setting as he's setting the precedent. You know what I mean? Like it's just so stupid. Like if you're fooled by Jack Dorsey in any way, then you're just an idiot. He's like, I'm so sorry I have to do this. You know what I mean? Like
I don't want to. I hate it.
But it's like such abusive behavior because you always see the movies. Like I don't know if you've ever watched a Lifetime movie, but like the guy, but no, but I have, and the abusive husband, he's always like, I'm sorry I have to do this. It's like the same thing. It's the same mentality where they're like, you made me do it. You made me do this. And it's like, they're abusing you while they're like saying like, it's your fault though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You made me do this to you.
You made no, we didn't. So like, but the point is like, yeah, you're right, Matt. That's a good point. Like Square, he's not going to compartmentalize his insanity to one of his companies.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to have morals and standards here, but definitely not here.
It's payment processing is just too serious of a business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially in light of what we've already seen them start to do with like Robinhood and things like that against the Wall Street Bets guys. I mean, the stuff that they're doing is absolutely criminal. But they're going to get away with it because there's no standards or laws anymore.
Of course they will. But I'll tell you what, that Robinhood stuff, it's great because I've been following some people on YouTube for a long time. They're liberals, they don't like Trump at all. Yeah. And they're starting to say stuff like this. I'm starting to understand why people voted for Trump.
Really?
And it's like because every institution is a bunch of criminals.
Right.
Like this is red pilling so many people, and they're not going to vote for Trump or something, but like they're starting to see what's actually going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're not going to vote for probably any Republican, but they won't vote for a Democrat either.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people are getting red pilled right now. It's just ridiculous.
But I mean, it won't matter because they'll just cheat for more. It'll just take 2 months to count all the votes instead of 1 month.
Of course. Next time it'll be like a super coronavirus or something. I don't know.
Yeah, this is really super duper. Oh, all right. Let's get to a super chat. Love the video on Torba today. My brother knows him and can attest he rocks a solid believer. Awesome. Good. Yeah, he's saying all the right in the video, Matt. Today I said like you just got to do the best you can because you don't have all the information. I said Torba seems great. I love what he gabs. I love his message. All that. Could he be a black cat that's going to stab me in the back eventually? It's possible, but but I know Zuckerberg's a lizard person. So if given the choice between a lizard person and someone who's saying the right things, all right, you do the best you can. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad to hear this though, Nathaniel. And I've actually heard other people that know him say the same thing that he's a real good guy. So I'm excited. It couldn't be a better situation as far as I'm concerned. I mean, obviously Gab could work better, but it's, he's working on it. It's a matter of time. Yeah. It's a matter of time. It's just a matter of getting the funding and the tech and that's it. So, I'm a fan. I really love that article that he put out the other day. Yeah. It's a matter of getting funding from the right people too. Yeah. That is the warning. Nathaniel, if you talk to him, make sure you pass out a word of advice on. Be careful of who funds you, and then also pass on that he can come on the show anytime he wants. But have you heard about what happened with Parler? Their CEO got fired.
Yeah, but I've heard some conflicting information. It's just like a big disaster.
It is
What
a big
actually
disaster.
happened?
I don't know exactly what happened, but I hear his side that he got fired and he wasn't part of the whole, like, I don't know, board meeting to fire him or not. They just like kind of sprung it on him. And then Dan Bongino, one of the big investors, saying he didn't do enough as a CEO and he should have known not to, trust Amazon and things like that. But I'm like, oh, come on.
I mean, listen, I understand, but at the same time, like, literally every company in the planet trusts Amazon, so it's like pretty understandable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even at Gab, I don't know if they did Amazon exactly, but they kind of went through the same thing 3 years ago.
They did. They went through some issues with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the thing that is the big red flag for me is Mercer. I forgot her first name. She's one of the billionaires, but she took over Breitbart, got rid of Steve Bannon, and then Breitbart started going downhill. It used to be a really more conservative website, so it's interesting that she's making an appearance again.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
But no, it's a weird way to think. Like I was actually just thinking today, like I should probably find a CPA because I've got a more complicated situation than I used to in the past, and I've got a couple businesses now instead of just one. So it's like I should get a CPA. And then my wife said, "You should find a Christian CPA." I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I should like it's just a different way of thinking. Cause normally I'd be like, okay, find the best one I can for the best price.
Right.
And I still want to do that, but I want to find one that I can actually count on. You know what I mean? And I'll pay a little extra for someone I can actually count on.
Yeah, exactly. I asked that myself too for the last probably year and a half, like, oh, I should find a Christian. But then my next question is how do I even find a Christian CPA, or how do I find a Christian lawyer?
Right.
There's no way to do that.
You got to network. That's the only way to do it. And that takes time. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know it takes time.
But it's worth the time though,
It really is. I mean, and honestly, churches should be doing this stuff. I mean, if you're in a church and you don't have anything like this, it's not that hard. Yes. I mean, we do that with, I remember back in the day growing up in my dad's church, we had like the wall with horrible 80s pictures of the family and then their phone number underneath.
Yeah.
It was just the worst. I hated it. You go by and your picture's terrible. The lighting's awful. It's like you could just put their business underneath that. I mean, it could be just as simple as that. Or
Definitely we need to do that. And I think that local pastors should be communicating with each other because depending on where you're at, where I'm at, like our churches are so small that we wouldn't have everything we need in one church.
Right.
But if you have a network, of all New Hampshire churches or something like that, that you can trust, you can probably find any kind of person that you need. Yeah. You know what I mean? Anything.
What would be great? And I've only thought about this. Maybe like a denominational approach where churches can come together as a denomination and work together. Okay, that wasn't that funny. I was trying to be funny about that, but I mean, like you could do it as a denomination or something. No, you don't have to laugh at my jokes. That's fine.
I was reading one of the comments of our commenters.
Okay. That's what I'm gonna say when you're not funny next time. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just reading the comments.
But here's the thing. So this is kind of like the caveat here. Mm-hmm. So Daniel said we need a Christian Angie's List. Okay, I'm cool with something like that. But the problem is that because we're going into a period of darkness, like somebody could really abuse that. So in other words, they could target all the Christian businesses that all put their names on this public list, and I don't know. You know how these people are? They're sick. So campaigns against the businesses and stuff like that, they'll come for you. If you make it too easy on them, they'll definitely take the opportunity. So what I'm proposing is something like a Christian Angie's List, but more private, like the Underground Railroad. Like you didn't advertise it, but like everybody knew about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm trying to say?
Like P.O. boxes. Yeah. We just need to all have P.O. boxes.
Everyone just needs
postcards again.
Yeah, we'll just send chain letters to each other.
Yes.
And
but it might come to that, honestly, because as Christians, we could build this great Angie's List, and it could be great, and it could be secure and all that stuff, and people will notice, oh, these Christians have a community. They're extremists. They're talking about Q. They're selling guns, and the servers can cut you off. The domains can cut you off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we really do have to think, what do we do without the internet? Because we don't control the internet. The enemy does.
Well, what Torba says is you build your own everything.
I mean, yeah, we're going to have to do
Basically his
that.
point.
It's going to take like 100 years, though. That's the problem, and we might not have that much time. Some questions. What do you guys use for your email providers? I still have business like emails for my websites and things like that.
Yep.
But a Proton Mail is probably one that I would move to personally. I don't know.
Yeah. So here's what I've done. So my small business, my media business, is on Proton Mail, and my personal is on Proton Mail now. Although I still have my Gmail, and I'm just forwarding everything for right now, but I'm gonna just phase it out completely soon. But then my biggest business is still on Gmail, and the reason I haven't switched yet is because Proton Mail's calendar is awful, and I need my calendar for many reasons. So I'm trying to figure out a solution. There's other options I'm looking at. For right now, I'm still with Google for my primary business, but everything else is Proton Mail, and I really like Proton Mail except for the calendar. I don't know why they haven't figured out the calendar, but there it is.
Yeah. Daniel said we were talking about G3. Yeah, G3 is great. I can't wait for G3 to come back. All right, let's go back to the plan, the show notes. Those are good questions, guys. Keep them coming. We love answering your questions in the show notes. Okay, so this is a funny one. So Dominion is suing everybody now. They're asking Google and YouTube to save all the things they've removed, which, by the way, I'm up to 6 shows removed now. And a 1-week suspension threatened on me. So we're going to be gone from YouTube. You're going to just have to watch this on Gab or something like that.
Hey, man, we'll upload it. We'll do what we got to do. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. So they're suing Fox News and a bunch of other people about how they're lying that the machines were manipulated and all this stuff. And the thing about these lawsuits is you can't file bankruptcy. When it's a defamation suit, is even if you filed bankruptcy, you still have to pay whatever damages. So forever. If it's $1 billion, you're never going to make $1 billion. You don't have $1 billion in assets. Maybe Fox does, but these individuals don't.
Right.
And so they're suing all these people saying this stuff like, you defamed us, you've ruined our reputation, which they did if it's not true. So it's going to be really interesting to see these trials. But what's really funny is there is this race, a representative race in New York City, that the Democrats are suing over the same exact thing, but for the Republican. Saying that the machine switched votes from the Democrat to the Republican. So the thing that we've been demonized for, banned from Twitter, flagged for, and people have been sued for, the Democrats had doing the same thing at the same election.
The same year, the same machines, the same everything.
The same everything. I can't. The same. It's a Daily Wire article. Attorneys for trailing Democrat candidate claim voting system count errors. And it goes through and it says the exact same things that I've been saying, other people have been saying, but in other districts.
This is, guys, you have to understand, this is not a Democrat-Republican issue.
No.
It's just not. This time it happened to go this way, but this is an issue for all time. Mm-hmm. This is for everybody. Like we got to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
And the fact that these lawsuits strike me, and Matt, maybe you know a little bit more about them. I've heard about them. They strike me more as the we're just trying to prove a point kind of lawsuit. Like they're actually not trying to get the damages from these people. They're just trying to like make it so bombastic that nobody will even look into it anymore, or tie up all your money in your defense and just to ruin you just for the fun of it.
Yeah. No. All of that. And a perfect example of what they're trying to do is if you Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever we can use now, the Newsweek article or the Newsweek show, it's a clip where they were interviewing Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy.
Yes.
And they wanted to talk about him being removed from Twitter. But then he went on to talk about why they removed him from Twitter, that Dominion voting machines was rigged and all of these different things. They cut him off. And then they went to read their boilerplate apology letter again that the lawyers drafted so Dominion wouldn't sue them. Like, a month or two ago, They had all these people on, and they were laying out the case of the evidence, and then they got threatened to be sued by Dominion. And so the lawyers wrote up this boilerplate, or not a boilerplate, but whatever, their admission that they don't believe in all this stuff, and it's just conspiracy theory and stuff. And they cut him off half in the middle of his interview, read it, and then the guy walked off. That's what they want to do with every single person with these lawsuits.
Well, and then the thing is, it's a very convenient excuse for the media organizations, because the media organizations would not be threatened that way by a conservative. They would be like, yeah, whatever. And then they'd go to court. You know what I mean? But it's a very convenient play, because it's like, well, we don't want to get sued. I mean, who could blame us? We don't want to get sued. And it's like, and so it's like, okay, well, a reasonable person could say, yeah, I guess that's a good point. Like, the media doesn't want to get sued, not thinking, but like, they do this kind of stuff all the time, and they're not worried about getting sued.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a very convenient play. It's a very interesting play, in my opinion.
It is very interesting. And a lot of people think that Newsmax is some super conservative network, which I thought so for a little bit too. But then I realized that they donate to the Clinton Foundation. So
there you
take
go.
that for what it's worth.
There you go.
Daniel. I'll get back to that in a second. Daniel, are you guys going to the FLF rally in South Dakota? I'm just going to say no.
I am planning on it, but I have
What?
not
You're
confirmed.
going?
Yes.
Usually I'm the one going, and everyone asks, "Where's AD?" Now you get to hear it. Are you going to fly or are you going to drive?
I'm not confirmed yet. Fly or drive? I know, that's the thing. Like, if I fly, I got to wear the stupid thing, and then
you might get tested now.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
Oh, okay.
There's no way. There's no way I'm going to submit to a test to fly. Not gonna
Yeah, even the new Chinese method. Have you heard about that? The anal probe
method. Yeah, I was talking to my brother about the anal probe, and it's like he was thinking to himself, like if anyone's if anyone's questioning which are the good guys and which are the cowards, like if they allow themselves to be anally probed by the government or anybody for this coronavirus, like they're just gone. Like, you just have to assume like that person needs conversion. Like, there's no way that you could allow yourself, your family, to be anally probed for the coronavirus and be a clear enough thinker to be a Christian. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. You got to draw the line there.
Yeah. Is there any other physical way that you could demonstrate that you've been conquered besides bending over and getting an anal probe?
Getting an anal probe so you can check to see if you have a virus that you're almost certain to survive if you have it.
Yes. Recommended by the people that created the virus.
Recommended by the people that created the virus in a lab.
Ridiculous. This really bothered me. It didn't really bother me, but I thought it was very interesting, and no one picked it up on me, so I might be.
Were you trembling when you heard it?
Yes, I was trembling in fear. We posed in a corner loft in Manhattan. But when they were demonstrating this, they did it on a mannequin that was white and not Chinese, which I thought was interesting. If they're in China demonstrating it, they're like trying to make it look like it's an American and all the symbolism that comes with it.
Is the anal probe real? Is it really real?
No, it's as real as the virus is deadly. I'll just put it that way. It's 99% fake. That's what it is.
Oh, man.
But that's what it is. It's like the Chinese want to conquer us, and they want us to make us look foolish.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. Bend over and take it.
They've done a great job of it.
Absolutely. They have done a great job of it.
How many masks are we up to this week?
I've heard up to 4, I think. 4? But from a doctor. A doctor said 4. I just can't. We live in a mean world.
I would love to see one of these guys like Lehman or something wearing their 4 masks.
I would love to see Lehman write an article about a pastor who said they only need to wear 1. We need to save our social capital, guys. We need 5 masks.
Oh man, the 4 masks, man, the 2 masks is funny. And then as soon as I saw 2, I knew they'd go higher. Obviously,
of course.
The question is, where will they stop, if ever?
And we're the conspiracy theorist. Let's see. When are you going back to business on HTBT? Never. There's no reason to. The world's ending. No, I don't.
You don't even talk about business anymore, Matt?
No, I don't.
Come on, man.
I talk about business-related things. But
QAnon?
QAnon, yeah. Oh, man. Some of those people still think Trump's president.
Yeah,
Does
I
your
know.
brother still follow them? Or follow like the
We
stuff?
don't talk about it as much as we used to, but I'm sure he does to some degree. Yeah.
Yeah, and then apparently another big thing is none of the military Twitter accounts are following Biden, and that's supposed to mean something. I don't know, but that's where we're at with
They're just
the Q
well,
stuff.
I don't think that means anything because Biden's tweets are so boring. Why would you follow him?
I know. Dude. I did the show today on Joe Biden and the prayer breakfast, and in the show I realized that in the clip it's only showing 1,000 people watching him live. 1,000 people.
Man, it's probably the entire organization of ERLC, and that's it. Literally, that's it.
They don't have 1,000 people.
That's
Come
true.
on. I mean, they have a salary worth 1,000
no,
people.
here's what they did though. What you don't understand is that what they did was they had 20 people. They have 20 employees, right? And then they hired 980 interns for that day to get internship credit just to watch the Joe Biden prayer breakfast.
Or they just like switched it on the counter on the back end and just added people to. I mean, they're taking away the downvotes from him.
They probably called Dominion.
Oh my gosh!
Allegedly, they allegedly,
yes. This whole show's allegedly for all the lawyers watching us right now.
I am not an expert. I know nothing. This is all just my jokes and opinions. I'm just a comedian. A comedian on YouTube.
Alleged comedian making.
I'm an alleged comedian on YouTube.
For now.
I switched my channel like a year back. I switched my channel from a news channel to an entertainment channel for that reason.
There you go. That's brilliant.
All entertainment.
Maybe that's why I'm getting taken down. I never did that sweet move.
Well, I don't talk about the election like hardly at all. And when I did, it was always very vague. It was always like the election, like I never really said anything about it.
Yeah, I went the other direction, and that's
you went all in.
I went all in. Speaking of though, My Pillow guy's coming out with the documentary tomorrow.
I want to see it.
I want to see it too.
I do want to see it. I think it's not going to do anything, but I'd like to see it.
I don't think it's going to do anything as far as like get Biden out of office or anything, but maybe it'll help us get election reform and get people to stop. Because there's cities right now purchasing Dominion machines. I saw one in Ohio where there was such pushback from it that they canceled their order. But if no one would have known or fought about it, then they would have just done it, and it would have been one more place they can steal the election.
Can you imagine? There's so much controversy over this. It's like downloading Robinhood today. Like, who would do that? Who would do that? Like, this is so controversial. Even if it's good, it's just like too risky. Like, why would you trade on Robinhood right now? Because the next stock could be the best one, and then you can't get it anymore.
Right? No, it would be like proposing that to your boss of your company. Hey, I did some research of all these different platforms.
I really like Robinhood.
Robinhood's the way to go.
That's what it's like. That's what it would be like if you did exactly that, and we're gonna spend the taxpayers' money to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is everyone like this?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys follow this guy Garrett Ziegler? See him post a lot on Telegram. AD's saying no. I say yes. Surprisingly, I do, and I follow him, and it's worth it all by itself.
Really?
Yes, I will not delete Telegram until he posts somewhere else.
What's his deal? What does he do?
He was a mid-level staffer in the White House.
Okay.
And so he knows stuff and is letting it out. Like he dropped a file this week of Jeffrey Epstein's flight log. 98% of the flight log he dropped on Telegram with the people, their names, their addresses, and all that stuff. But another thing that he was doing that I thought was really interesting, and it relates to Patrick Byrne, the Overstock guy.
Okay.
He's been writing a blog post for a four-step series, or I mean, it's 4 parts right now. I think it'll be more, but it's his part in the election, behind the scenes, the election fraud uncovering.
Okay.
And he starts from a meeting he had in the White House, and so he talks about a meeting that him, Flynn, Sidney Powell, and Trump had. And talked about how Rudy was there. He says Rudy's a drunk and that he's just trying to take credit for himself. And the only thing he can do reliably is have his podcast. So it's like behind the scenes stuff. And it's really interesting. And for me, you judge it for what it's worth. It's on his website called deepcapture.com, I think it is. You can just search deep capture and it'll come
All
up.
right.
But it's really fascinating. And it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of loose ends in my mind about like, why didn't Trump fight back? And why didn't he use the nuclear option and do the martial law and all this stuff? And it just, that's why. So that was really refreshing. But anyways, there was this one part where they went to go to the White House without an appointment, which you just don't do, right? Like you're not going to get in unless you have an appointment.
Right.
And he was the staffer that let them in to get to meet to the president. So he has some part of that story. And he just has a lot of interesting stuff. He knows a lot of stuff and he's starting to drop it. He's starting to drop a lot of information. So I would recommend getting Telegram and following him. And that's worth Telegram all by itself.
I have Telegram and I'm going to start to do it.
Yeah, you should. It's really interesting, and go read the stuff. It's really interesting. But yeah, it was the saddest story. So apparently, according to Patrick Bryan, that he made Sidney Powell like the lead lawyer for the night, and he was going to put General Flynn in charge of redoing the election for several different states. They left, and then apparently he alludes to Rudy Giuliani and Mark Meadows convinced him not to and to stop fighting. And so they left thinking the plan was going to happen. The next day, it was kind of like they just got, they didn't get their credentials and they kind of got blown off. So that's the kind of back end stuff that I think was absolutely fascinating.
Rudy,
I know.
I could buy that he's an alleged drunk. I could buy that.
Maybe, yeah. I still kind of like Rudy though. It makes me kind of sad.
Well, Rudy was in an episode of Seinfeld that was pretty good.
Was he really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was the mayor at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Let's see. What else? I miss AD trolling the libs on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm happier right now that I'm not seeing their nonsense. However, there is a part of me that enjoys some of the hijinks. So I do. I miss it as well a little bit. I'm not going back though.
Yeah. I'm seriously,
no way.
There's no way I'm going to come back. I mean, once I leave, I'm not coming back either. And that's going to be really soon. I just need to figure out how to live stream this show. Like, where are we going to live stream if neither of us have it? Do we just leave the Reformed Jellicle page, maybe?
I guess. I don't know, man. Maybe you could do that. Well, let me say this. I had an alternate Facebook account for a while just because I thought it might get kicked out of it at one point. And I don't do anything on it. I have no connections, nothing. I guess we could do it there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Well, we'll talk about that later. Okay, Matt, I'd love to hear, thank you again for another super chat. I'd love to hear how you came to a pre-mill conclusion, being that you talk like one of the biggest post-mill guys I've ever heard.
That's a good question.
Oh, let me take a drink.
He knew he had to pay. He had to pay to get the answer to that. So that's why he gave
did.
Super chat.
That's for sure, because I definitely wasn't going to go down that road. Okay, here's my thinking right now is that I think that Revelation is literally figurative. And so I believe it's literally telling us truth of the future. It's like an apocrypha. What is it? How do you say? I can never say the right word for it. The future book with an A. It's Daniel. Is it considered it? And Revelation. Apocalyptic. Thank you very much. An apocalyptic book. But I don't think that just because that revelation is going to happen in a literally figurative way, that the world is on a negative trend to that point. And I think that God is doing a lot of great things and going to do a lot of good things. I think there's going to be awesome opportunities for revival. I think technology, like we see, is going to enable us to do a lot of good things. I just happen to think that Revelation is going to be 7 years, 3.5 of this peace deal, and then 3.5 years of God's judgment. And I don't think that it just is going to trend that way. And so with that in mind, thinking that God's still going to do a lot of good things. And then also that we have a responsibility, regardless of the results, to be obedient and to use what he's given us for the glory of God. And so whatever the future looks like, that I have an obligation to use my gifts, use my talents, whatever that is, citizenship, money, skills, talents, technology, for the glory of God. And so I think that's where I look like the post-mill person, is I'm operating under the assumption that God's going to do things that are good, and there's going to be revival. Like, just because I'm pre-mill, I don't think that means that there can't be a revival in our country and people repent. I don't think that at all. So that's kind of probably where I feel post-milly to you.
Well, that to me, that's the best kind of non-post-mill person, because The reality is that you're. I mean, how do I put this in a way that doesn't insult people? Like,
I'll let you know if you pull it off.
You're a believer in every area of your life. So you don't have, when you go into a business dealing or something, or if you go into, like, let's say you're going to start a company or something like that, like you go into it up and you believe that God will bless your efforts if you do things in a way that's upright. You believe where it says that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. You believe God that he'll bless nations for obedience and stuff like that. Like you believe all those things. So there's no area in your life where you suffer from unbelief. Well, I won't say that, but like you won't let it conquer you. Like there's so many people that give up on government and give up on the nation, and they use their premillennialism as an excuse for that, because they're like, well, God's going to destroy us all in the end. And but in practice, when they're engaging in government, it's just unbelief, because it's like, well, I'm just going into it expecting to lose, and in fact, it's good if I lose.
Right.
That's unbelief. Like you're engaging in unbelief in the political arena or wherever the arena is, and so it's okay.
Burying your talents. Is how
right. That's a good way to put it.
That's exactly what Jesus preached against. Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. So even if you're a person that thinks, okay, well, I believe that God's going to come and destroy the earth and fire, or whatever it is that you believe. So you're pessimistic in that way. You can't let that change how you engage in life. You know what I mean? Which is very hard to do when you're not post-millennial. So like most people that are optimistic end up being post-millennial for that reason, because it makes sense. You know what I mean?
But let me push back on that for a second. And great, Darren Doan's here now. And I love what Austin said. If you can't be right about the end times, be Matt. But so like we think as a nation right now, where we're at, that we're in a time of judgment and God's judging us as Americans. You and I both agree with that, regardless of our post-mill, pre-mill attitude.
Yes. But
we both also agree that shouldn't change our obedience in every area of our life and how we act, right?
Yeah. Right.
So if it's true at a national level, then if me as a pre-mill person shouldn't change it if it's at a corporate level or a global level as well. Like I need to be faithful to God in everything I do. I need to be doing things to expand the kingdom, even though I believe that the United States right now is in the time of judgment. Yeah. And that should be our attitude as pre-mill people too, at a global scale as well.
Let me give you an example of the difficulty here, because I know someone close to me in my life that is very dispensational and is very worried about the next mark of the beast, whatever it's supposed to be and stuff like that. And it's to such a degree that she's delayed, in fact, decided not to have children because she doesn't want them to go through the tribulation or whatever it is. And that's a devastating decision. You know what I mean? That's a devastating decision. And it kind of makes sense. You can kind of see where she's coming from, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
And
it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't, because what you're doing is you're actually denying other scriptures in order to hold that, because you're so focused on this pessimistic outlook, right? So on the one hand, if you really were that pessimistic, you can at least kind of understand why someone might overlook some of these other scriptures, but it's unbelief. It's actually unbelief in those areas is what I would say. So you're 100% right, Matt. It shouldn't be that way, because you shouldn't be engaging in unbelief in your personal life. Yeah. But that's how it often works out. Well, maybe I shouldn't say often, but it sometimes works out that way, and that's really sad. And I feel really bad for this person, because I can see the things about this person that she actually would like to have kids. You could see how she engages with other kids, but she's just paralyzed in fear. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that there's tendencies in whatever theology you hold that are not a weak point, but something that you can fall trap to. Like Calvinism, for example. If you are the ultra Calvinist and not the squish like me, like, oh, what's the point of discipleship? I'm not going to evangelize because God's going to save those who are his elect. It doesn't mean that the Calvinism's not true or election's not true. It just means you're taking it to an unbiblical extreme. Sure. And I think that the pre-mill people have done that in a large part because of pastors who've taught things where they combined what's going to happen in Revelation, I believe, for 3.5 years, which 3.5 years, that's such a small amount of time of judgment compared to how long the earth's been around. Even for us young earthers, it's 6,000 years to 3.5 years. I mean, so small. But then they combine it with wars and rumors of wars, and they just say, oh man, this is just going to get terrible, and it's going to be on this trajectory until God can't take it anymore, and he's just going to wipe it out. When my view of the what's going to happen in Revelation isn't that he can't take it anymore or can't stand the wickedness, but it's him as he judges nations now. He's just going to do it on a global extent, just like we saw in the flood. But I think that, and we should blame pastors in a lot of areas that preach premill as this trending towards doom, because it leads to these people that are retreatist and just give up. And that's not anywhere in the scriptures, even if you believe premill like I do.
Right. No, good stuff, man. I completely agree. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to you can be wrong about Revelation, but still be a believer in all the areas of your life. You know what I mean? Like, and I kind of snuck that in there, but at the end of the day, I don't really care so much if you're wrong about Revelation, so long as you're not engaging in unbelief in your everyday life.
Yeah, that's why I think we've been talking about a lot of, it's more important to have a kingdom ethos, or I say it's more important, but we can talk about it that way, where we need to act like Jesus is on the throne, like all of us believe, like that no matter which of the mill you are, we all believe that Jesus is on his throne and that he is Lord over all. And therefore, we need to respond and act a certain way, regardless of we think it's going to be a long push till he comes back, or it can be any moment, or whatever the on-mill people believe. Who knows?
Oh, my goodness gracious. They just put, I just know somebody just mentioned to me that they put like 10 ads on my video today. Like,
yeah, dude,
that's
you
good
gotta. No, it's terrible because they stop watching, man.
You're right. It's good for like my hardcore fans, but like, because they'll click, they'll watch the whole thing. But like, man, that's so annoying.
It's so annoying. They do that on purpose.
They do that.
They do it on purpose. So just go over to Gab and follow AD on AD Robles.
Man, I just fixed it. So if you guys watch my video today, sorry about that. I just fixed it.
Darren asked, can anyone explain to me how dispensationalists have connected the mask with the mark of the beast? If I were pre-mill dispy, I'd be all over that.
Somebody probably has. Like, I haven't seen it either, actually. That is kind of surprising. I want to go looking for it now, though. To see. Well, eventually, by the time we get to 6 masks, that's when people are going to really lose their minds. Like, say, 6 masks, you see? Six.
Wait, no. 6 masks? 6 feet? What's the third sixth?
We got to figure it out.
Find it.
6 doses of vaccine.
And then the rapture's happening.
And then there you go.
You know, okay, so I'm pre-mill. I'm 50-50 on a rapture, guys. I'm 50-50. I feel like I could make a decent case for it, but I could see just not being wrong too. I feel like I'm stretching to make the case, I'll be honest.
Is it going to be like when you disappear and your clothes are still there?
Yeah, I don't know, but we can make fun of it like that. But I mean, there are times where people got raptured in the Bible, right? Enoch, Moses.
I'm just
like people did. I don't know. I don't know.
They went up with their clothes though.
Well, okay, then maybe that's how it is.
I don't know if they did or not. I just said that. I just made that up completely.
What a Mormon. Gosh. Nailed it. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. You know what I have seen though is because people are injecting their credit card numbers and stuff into their hands. I mean, that to me is more of like mark of the beast-ish.
There you go.
Buying and selling or whatever, but I don't know. I hate trying to like do that because I just know I'm going to be made fun of. So I just
I want to know, do you think it's going to be the clothes are left behind? I need to know this.
The clothes, like
you disappear, but your clothes are still there.
Oh, so were they like all folded up neatly?
No. It was just like let's just say I disappeared. Wherever my clothes fall, that's where they are. So
okay, yeah. So you get raptured naked.
I don't know. Well, that's the idea. I would like to know if you believe that.
Yeah,
I think God will take you up with your clothes.
You think so? I think you get new clothes, man.
Well, yeah, you do get new clothes, but I'm just saying,
so why do you need your old ones? Uh-oh. We're going to have a show division over this.
Darren Doan, you can't buy and sell without a mask, just saying.
Yeah, you can. I've been doing it since March. I live in a free country, boy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's funny.
That's funny. All right. I think that's good. Thank you, everyone, for live. That's how we close the show. I think that's good. Let's just call
I think
it
that's enough.
Yeah,
I think we've had enough of this. So
thank you for everyone. Your questions were amazing. You make this show. If you guys are watching on the podcast or wherever you listen to this show, you can join us 7:30 p.m. Eastern time Thursdays. We'd love to have you on the show and answer your questions. You'd be part of the show. I don't know. Have a good night. We'll talk to you next time.
Austin wants you to tell us all your beliefs so that we can make fun of you.
We'll do that on like the Patreon paywall.
There you go. We'll do a Patreon show.
All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.